Hi everyone, welcome back to Fundamentals of Mixed Signals and Sensors. Have you ever wondered how circuits can actually accumulate signals over time? That's exactly what we'll explore today. In this video, we're going to dive into the op-amp integrator, a powerful circuit that transforms an input signal into its integral. Simply put, it produces an output that depends on the area under the input signal. An op-amp integrator, it simulates mathematical integration, which is basically a summing process that determines the total area under the curve of a function. So kapag sinabi nating integration, kinukuha natin yung area under the curve. So an op-amp circuit kung saan yung ating output is proportional sa integral ng ating input signal. Kaya nga siya tinatawag na op-amp integrator. Ano nga ba yung itsura ng op-amp integrator? As you can see in this figure, an ideal integrator is shown. So notice na yung ating feedback element ay capacitor. That forms an RC circuit with the input resistor. So tingnan mabuti, nasa input natin ay R at yung ating capacitor ay nasa feedback. Although a large value resistor is normally used in parallel with the capacitor to limit yung ating gain at yung ating low frequencies, it does not affect to the basic operation and is not shown for the purpose of this analysis. How a capacitor charges? Para mas maintindihan natin kung paano nagwo-work ang isang integrator, kailangan nating i-review paano nga ba nagcha-charge ang isang capacitor. Recall that the charge Q on a capacitor is proportional to the charging current and time. So given ang charge natin na Q is equal to I sub C times T. Also, kapagka naman ginamit natin yung voltage, yung current natin or charge natin sa capacitor is given by this formula. Q is equal to C times V sub C. And then from this two relationship, makakabuo tayo ng formula to get the capacitor voltage. So here, V sub C is equal to I sub C all over C times yung ating t. Okay? So, this equation or yung ating expression na to has the form of an equation for a straight line beginning at the zero with a constant slope ng ating I sub c all over c. Remember from the algebra that the general formula from of the straight line is y is equal to mx plus b. Kaya yung ating pong slope dito sa ating given na formula is IC all over C. Pag sinabing slope, ito po yung rise over run. Okay? Yung inverting input ng ating op-amp ay virtual ground or yung tinatawag na 0 volts. So, yung ating voltage across dun sa ating Rin ay equal sa V in. Therefore, ang input current natin na I sub in or yung I in natin is equal sa V in all over Ri. Kung ang ating V in ay constant voltage, then yung ating current na input is also constant dahil yung ating inverting input ay laging naka 0 volts. Keeping a constant voltage across dun sa ating R sub I or the input resistor. Because of the very high input impedance sa ating op-amp, there is a negligible current from the inverting input. All of the input current is through the capacitor. So, if we all know, yung atin pong magiging current sa capacitor ay equal din sa ating current sa input. Since I sub in or yung input current po natin ay constant, so is IC, I sub C. So, the constant I sub C charges the capacitor linearly and produces a linear voltage across dun sa ating capacitor. Sa positive side ng ating capacitor is held at 0 volts by a virtual ground of the op-amp. So the voltage naman sa ating negative side ng ating capacitor decreases linearly from zero as the capacitor charges. Kung makikita po natin sa ating figure. So this voltage na mapansin po natin from zero din pababa ay tinatawag nating negative ramp. So here's a linear ramp voltage produced across C by the constant charging current. The output voltage is the same as the voltage on the negative side of the capacitor. Kapag yung ating constant input voltage in the form of step or pulse, kung saan yung pulse ay may constant amplitude kapag high, so ito po yung ating i-apply. So the output ramp decreases negatively until the op-amp saturates at its maximum negative level. Kung mapansin natin, so Vin, meron tayong step na input and then yung atin pong output ay naging ramp. Nagde-decrease siya negatively hanggang sa maabot yung saturation level. The rate of change of which capacitor charges and therefore the slope of the output ramp is set by the ratio ng ating I sub C all over C o yung tinatawag nating slope. So as you have seen, so since yung atin pong I sub C is equal to Vin all over Ri, so the rate of change of slope of integrator's output voltage is given by delta V out all over delta T is equal to negative V in all over R sub I times C. So tatandaan po mabuti yung ating rate of change of the output. Let's have an example. This figure shows a practical integrator using a feedback resistor to prevent op-amp from saturating due to small imbalances in the capacitor charging and discharging current. Yung feedback resistor has a small effect on the circuit and is selected to have about 7% of the charging current. So its effect on the general circuit operation is negligible. However, the feedback resistor will force the output to be centered about the zero line after several cycles. From this example, first, we need to calculate the rate of change of the output voltage during the time the capacitor is charging. And the formula for the rate of change of the output, that is delta V out all over delta T, is equal to negative V in all over Ri C, is equal to, substituting the values, V in the 2 volts, so we have negative 2 volts all over 22 kilo ohms times 10 nanofarad, which is the value of our capacitor and resistor, which is equal to negative 9.09 kilovolts per seconds or negative 9.09 millivolts per microseconds. We need to change our rate of change to microseconds since our given input voltage is have a time of 500 microseconds. To calculate for the total change in voltage in 500 microseconds, the output will change by negative 9.09 millivolt per microseconds times 500 microseconds. A total of 4.54 volts producing a negative going ramp. In the last part, we're going to describe the output and draw the waveform centered about 0 volts. From the given input with the positive negative 2 volts, our V out, when the capacitor discharges, the rate is the same except it produces a positive going ramp. Because the output is centered at 0 volts, after a few cycles, so the output will vary with a minimum of half of the 4.54 volts, which is 2.27 volts, to a maximum of half of the 4.54 volts, or 2.27 volts. The waveform is shown in this figure. As you can see, we have a maximum of positive 2.27 and a negative 2.27 with the range as computed earlier, which is a total of 4.54 volts. Let's have an example video showing the different waveforms.
Output's just going to be 1 kilohertz, 5 volts peak to peak. It's going to be going, currently it's a sine output, but I'll switch that actually to a square wave, and we'll go through the different ones. But this is actually 5 volts peak to peak, so it's plus 2.5 volts minus 2.5 volts. We'll see how the input is measured on the oscilloscope, and then we'll see what the output looks like, and we will start messing with things. All right, here we have the yellow line as the input, which is that square wave that I was talking about, and we have the blue line as the output. You can see very easily that as the voltage drops and becomes negative, since the signal is inverted, you get an increase, and then as soon as the voltage is high, again, because it's multiplied by a negative 1 over RFCF, that it immediately starts to drop down again. So that is exactly what we'd expect on the output with this square wave. Now the interesting thing is, let's switch it and let's have a ramp input. So that is, again, the yellow is the input, and it's a ramp input with the blue as the output. You can see that the inflection points on the sine wave output are equal, not necessarily to the top and the bottom of the ramp sign, but it's where it crosses the zero. So it crosses the zero there and it starts to become more negative. And since it's inverted, that's exactly where it starts to become more positive right there. So that's pretty cool. And then if you have a sine wave, it does the same way, or it does the same thing. You can see that these are two basically sine waves, but out of phase from each other. And that's where you get that sine to cosine and cosine to sine changes when you integrate a circuit. So that's about it. I think those are some pretty cool examples, but I would like to point out a few things that you may have already noticed. The blue is moving. It kind of goes all over the place. It floats up, it floats down, and that's because, oh, it just did it for me right there. That was quite nice. It does that because you have those input bias voltages that we've discussed in previous videos. And so the op-amp isn't perfect, and this circuit assumes an ideal and perfect op-amp. In real life, if you want an integrator circuit that works properly, you need to have some way to reset it for when it goes crazy like this. And you can do that with feedback resistors and other little mechanisms, but that is something you definitely need to worry about in a real life application. Another thing that you need to worry about is that there are bandwidth limitations on this. So we're currently at 1000 kilohertz, but as we increase that, you can see that the output actually is getting smaller and smaller, and it's looking more like just a flat line. You still get a ripple, but the peak to peak on the output is significantly less. And then as we go the other direction, and let me get this farther down, I'll have to change my view quite a bit. You can see that the output just looks horrible, and that's me not changing anything except for the frequency input. And so you can tell that this is very independent, and that's not just an op-amp thing, that's also your feedback resistor and your feedback capacitor relationship. So those two things will affect what your circuit looks like, and you'll have to tweak.
In conclusion, always remember that an op-amp integrator is a circuit that performs in mathematical integration of the input signals. In simple terms, the output voltage is proportional to the integral of the input voltage over time. And that's all for the uh, integrator circuits. God bless. So let's have an example of a laboratory. As you can see, we're in, let's have an example video showing the different waveforms